Welcome back to the Great Mechanical Pencils YouTube channel, where we unearth the hidden gems of discontinued and legendary writing instruments. Today I've got something truly groundbreaking in my hands, the Pilot 2020 Young, the world's first shaker-style mechanical pencil. Launched back in 1978, this isn't just a pencil, this is the one that started it all. Stick with me as I take it apart, reveal its secrets, and show you why every collector needs to know about this vintage icon. Before we dive in, let's talk about why the Pilot 2020 Young is a big deal. Picture this. It's 1978 and mechanical pencils are all about clicking a button. Then, Pilot drops this game changer, a pencil that you just shake to extend the lead. You can retract it by holding the knock just like a normal pencil, and there is also a knock feature if you don't want to shake it. Coming up, I've got video of how the shaker works, close-ups of every part, and catalog images from 1978 to 2006. Plus, I've tested its loudness against 11 other shaker pencils and measured its precision, down to the millimeter. Spoiler alert, it's not perfect, but for a first of its kind, it's got charm all its own. In this part of the video, I like to use books, magazines, and catalogs to help establish when exactly these pencils were sold. In 2018, Pilot published its 100 Years of History book, and in it, they have the 2020 Young release date of June 1978. They mentioned that it has a design and barrel color aimed at younger people, so I'm assuming that's students who take a lot of notes. And I guess that's where the name Young came from. According to inflationtool.com, 1,000 yen in 1978 is like spending almost $12 today, so that was a lot of money for a pencil aimed at younger people. Here's the 1982 Pilot of Japan catalog, and in it you can see the 2020 Young came in 0.5 millimeter and was available in 6 colors: red, black, blue, brown, or maybe deep red, violet, and clear. The next data point I have is the Pilot of Japan 1988, and it has the same color options. Here's an overseas catalog for the Europe and US market. You can see it's still only available in 0.5 millimeter, but in addition to the standard colors of black, red, and blue, there is now an orange and a white. I'm not sure what year this is from, but judging from other pencils in the book, it looks like it's probably from the late 1980s. The next catalog I have is the Pilot of Japan 1995, and by then we are back to 4 colors: black, red, blue, and clear. The last data point I have was provided by a fellow collector who retrieved this from the Internet Archive. He was using Pilot's website data from 2006. So this image backs up the claim that the 2020 Young was sold from 1978 to at least 2006. Some discussions online kick around 2008 as a retirement year, but I was unable to find anything online to back that up. But it's nice to know that this pencil was sold for at least 28 to 30 years, and that says something to the innovative design. Here's a look at just a few of the countless shaker pencils that are here today because of Pilot's groundbreaking work back in 1978. Pilot continues to sell pencils featuring the same shake engine technology, including some branded with the 2020 name. Here's a look at some of them that I happen to have in my collection. Pilot released the 2020 Black in 1980. Sometime after that, the H1010 was released as the overseas version. It was branded the Shaker. Then, one of my favorites, the H1585, was released around 1981. This was a shaker version of the H1080 series of drafting pencils. The 2020 Flag from 1982 is interesting in that it has a shake engine, but also a sliding button on the side. 1985 saw the release of the 2020 Rocky. This is one of my favorite pencils. It's a perfect one to start collecting if you're getting into collecting vintage mechanical pencils. I'm not sure exactly when it was released, but around 1988, the 2020 ST was released. There's 2 versions of this. There's a slim one and a fatter one. And this one's super quiet when you shake it. Around 1995, Pilot was selling the 2020 GP. This was an economized version of the 2020 and was all plastic. It came in several colors. Please excuse my pronunciation, but in 2020, the Fure Fure me was released. This playful expression can be translated literally as shake me. The Mugulaire was released in 2016. Near the observation cutout, Pilot has engraved 2020 on the barrel. Last up, I have the Dr. Grip Ace, which was released in 2019. This pencil has an interesting feature that lets you know when you're on your last stick of lead. It's pretty cool. In this last section, before the demonstration, we're going to look at the physical characteristics of the pencil. At 18.5 grams, this pencil is a little heavier and shorter than most, with its balance point almost exactly mid-center. The wider 10.8 millimeter grip was said to be for extra gripping while writing. We'll have a closer look in the demonstration, but this pencil came with a 2 millimeter fixed lead sleeve. Next up, let's look at the precision of the pencil. To keep the video moving, I'm jumping to the results, but if you would like to know how I measure this, I'll leave links to some videos at the end. Keep in mind I'm only measuring one pencil, so you may have different results. Since there are two ways to advance the lead, I measured each way several times and then took the average. The results were impressive. I recorded an average of 0.51 millimeter per knock while knocking the pencil, and an equally impressive 0.58 millimeter per knock when shaking it. Now we're going to look at how loud this pencil is and compare it to several other pencils. I know this has to be pretty boring, so I sped it up a little bit. And I'm also not going to talk, so there are chapters if you want to skip this. Thanks for sticking with me. I know that had to be boring. But anyway, here's a summary of the results. In this chart, each black square represents 3 decibels. A 3 decibel difference is perceived as a noticeable change in loudness, while a 10 decibel difference feels about twice as loud. The loudest pencil I tested was my white Tombow Mono at 62.8 dB, and the quietest was the 2020 GP at 51.9 dB. So in simple terms, the white Tombow is 10.9 decibels louder than the Pilot 2020 GP. To give you a sense of what this means, a 10 decibel difference is roughly perceived as twice as loud to the human ear. So, my white Tombow Mono sounds about twice as loud as my Pilot 2020 GP when you use it. The Pilot 2020 Young measures 59.3 decibels, making it the third loudest shaker pencil that I measured. On average, the loudness of the pencils I tested came to 56 dB, making the 2020 Young 3.3 decibels louder than the 56 decibel average. And since 3 decibels is enough to notice, you could definitely consider this a loud pencil. Now we're going to compare the 2020 Young to a P205. The P205 measures 143.7 millimeters, a bit longer than the 2020's 136 millimeter. It's a small difference, but it might change how they sit in your hand. The P205 is a comfortable 10 grams, while the 2020 comes in at 18.5, almost twice as heavy, giving it a solid premium feel. As we are about to see, this additional weight comes from the striker mechanism used to advance the lead. In this last section of the video, we're going to take the pencil apart and look at the pieces. The 2020 features an aluminum barrel with plastic accents. The lattice-style grip, known for comfort and effectiveness, ensures a secure hold. The grip, pocket clip, and eraser cap are similar in color. I mentioned earlier that Pilot named the shake mechanism in this pencil the Fure Fure, which means shake shake. But 2020 is also a clever wordplay on this. Please excuse my pronunciation, but Fu equals 2 and Re equals 0. So 2020 literally means shake shake. Here's a view of the clutch and the shake mechanism. This is a substantial part of the weight of the pencil. This came with a 3-jaw brass chuck. The plastic lattice grip has 15 grooves in it. Pilot 2020 is silk-screened on one side and 0.5 Japan on the other. The eraser cap is plastic with an aluminum band. The tip has a 2 millimeter fixed lid sleeve. Here is the shaker engine. There is a weight that slides back and forth on the lid tube. The weight has enough inertia behind it to slam into the clutch, pushing it forward just as you would when knocking. I think I've found the source of this pencil's noise. If you look on the tip end, there is a rubber piece that acts as a shock absorber and a noise dampener. On the other end, it is crimped to prevent the weight from coming off. But when the two meet, there is a distinct click. Coming up, we're just about to hear it. Compared to most pencils, the 2020 is shorter, has a fatter grip, and tips the scales at 18.5 grams, nearly twice the P200 10 grams. We tested its shaker noise against a dozen others, and at 59.3 decibels, it claimed the bronze as the third loudest. So yeah, it's short, fat, and loud. Despite those quirks, its lead advance system is highly precise whether you're shaking or knocking. It's a quirky gem, yet a great pencil to have in your collection. If you love this look at the Pilot 2020 Young, click the like button and subscribe to Great Mechanical Pencils for more reviews. And thanks again for watching. And a big thank you to all the members of the Knockology Mechanical Pencil Forum, the Mechanical Pencil subreddit, and Facebook groups. See you on the next video.